Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Russ Bradford. I am your Metro Councilman for District 13, and this is our first town hall of 2020 and second of my term. So thank you all for coming out on this cold, rainy night. We're going to have a brief meeting tonight. Like last time, I'm going to provide a few updates about what's going on with the council, with Metro, the district, and then I want to turn it over to our Davidson County trustee, Parker Toller, for him to kind of give you some information about what exactly he does as your trustee. Hopefully in a little bit, our property assessor, Lillian Wilhoy, will be here as well. I've invited her to kind of get some information about what she does as your property assessor. So going right into our updates, I've got two bills that passed in December. The first one was an amendment to our codes that would bring codes up to date for the airport. You'd be surprised about how much was not covered. The codes didn't cover the future hotel, didn't cover the ride sharing. So it was basically just a housekeeping measure to bring codes up to date. The second one was, we already have a cold weather response plan every year, but it's pretty much kind of done throughout the year and then goes into effect in November. And so we saw this past winter, there was a little snafu, there was some confusion. So I pushed a bill that basically means that this cold weather plan has to be presented to the Metro Council and approved by the spring of every year so that we're not caught off guard like we were this year. It's basically going to be like a public-private partnership between Metro and the multiple organizations that work with our homeless community to find ways to find housing and to do it at a cheaper cost. I was surprised to learn that the nonprofits can do this kind of service for half the cost of what it costs for Metro to do it. So one of my promises was to find more efficient ways for Metro to do business, and this was a very efficient way. If we could get this done at half the cost, and you utilize a volunteer workforce that is trained to help our homeless, then why aren't we doing it? So got that, both those passed in December, so I'm very happy about those. I've also co-sponsored a few resolutions and ordinances. Transgender Remembrance Day, the Tennessee Logo Program, which that one in particular is going to be able to, when we opt into it, on Briley Parkway and Ellington Parkway, you're going to have signage that will direct you to the nearest hospitals and other services that we don't already have. I signed on to that because Briley Parkway does run right through the middle of our district. Recognizing Homeless Memorial Day. I've also recently signed on to a bill that will recognize our Nashville Zoo for the amazing decade that they've had and the amount of growth and tourism that they've brought to the city. And I've also signed on to a bill that would limit landlords from increasing rent without a 90 days notice. We've seen how Nashville's growing, how areas are gentrifying, and how housing costs are going up. So this is, in my opinion, a good way to help protect some of our low-income families, some of our elderly families, to prevent surprise rent increases. As far as what I've been doing for you on the council as well, I serve on our Public Works Committee, and we had a joint committee meeting with Budget and Finance December or January, where we listened to a presentation from the state controller about the state of Metro's budget and what needed to be done to try and fix it. As y'all probably know by now, the mayor was able to plug that hole, and so the state controller has approved our budget. So we're good to go, no issues, and we're about to start a new budget process, so there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights. Also had a special meeting of the Public Safety Committee, which I am not on, but because of some of the issues we've been having, I decided to go and attend. They were talking about some of the issues we've had at the Juvenile Justice Center with some of the escaping teens and the issues with that. Recently, if you were not able to attend, there was a transit meeting from the mayor's office to cover Donaldson, Hermitage, and the Old Hickory areas. I was able to attend and saw a lot of suggestions put on our little map. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the mayor's office comes back with what they can do for our area. As far as community and development issues, there was an issue a month or two ago between the residents of Woodland Point and the developers developing the apartments there at Heron Point. There was some confusion between both groups about the tree line and a landscape buffer. I was able to get a group of residents from Woodland Point, planning, the developer, and the property owner at a table. We figured out that there was a miscommunication between both parties. We came up with a plan. I let the homeowners in Woodland Point come up with the design that they would be satisfied with, and then the developer sent that to planning and zoning for final approval. There's recently been some issues come back, so I've been in touch with planning and zoning. They will be out sometime this week to make sure that the developer is sticking to the agreed upon plan. So more details on that to come. We had a meeting as well about the development that was on Curry Road, and some of you might be familiar with the issue we had over the summer. The developer is developing per base zoning, which is what the community agreed upon last summer. They will be developing about, I think they're looking at 18 houses on the 5-acre lot. They will be developing the infrastructure and then possibly selling each of the lots to a builder to finish building out the development. I submitted our capital improvements request, so on that sidewalks around Maspin Drive, Bell Road, Elm Hill, and several other areas that I identified as important to have some sidewalk access. The vice mayor appointed me to serve on a special committee for voter engagement to find out why our voter turnout is low, what, if any, we can do to fix that. We will be submitting those recommendations to the vice mayor this week and presenting those to the council next Tuesday at next Tuesday's meeting. Just off the top of my head, some of the recommendations we are asking is finding a way to allow your early voting locations to also stay open on Sundays and election day to cut down confusion, to try and have more election polls in North Nashville, and to create a polling place at Tennessee State University and provide transportation for any college students in Nashville to go vote if they don't have means of transport themselves, or if their polling place is too far to walk. And we're also looking at doing a resolution to create a civic engagement month for Metro, because we believe educating people about the importance of voting, how to vote, and some of the intricate rules in Metro. So we're probably going to try and do that to help increase engagement and voter awareness. And if you still happen to have a live Christmas tree at your house and need a place to take it, they're still doing tree recycling until the 17th of February. You can take it to Two Rivers Wave Pool or call 615-862-5000 to find another place to take your Christmas tree. It'll be mulched and used for landscaping. There has been some chatter on Facebook about a homeless community over here on Gabbard Pike. I have reached out to our Metro Social Services. They're going to try and send somebody out this week to see if there's anything we can do to help them as far as if they have any mental or health issues, or just if there's something that can be done. If you live on the lake side of the district, I'm going to let you know that there will be a development meeting on the 20th of February at 6:30 at the Whitfield Baptist Church. There is a developer that has reached out about the property next to the Child Care Center, about putting in another subdivision. So when he reached out to me, I told him before he draws up any plans that I want to have a community meeting so that he can talk with the neighbors and get some input, so that we don't go back and forth, that we have something that the developer is happy with and the community is happy with, possibly getting some like public park space included in the development. In February, my coffee with your councilman will be pushed back a week to the 22nd. So if you were not able to come out this past month, I invite you. I'm going to try and have them every third Saturday at the Dunkin' Donuts here on Briley Parkway from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. A good opportunity to just come out, sit down, chat, bring any issues or concerns you have, or any questions. It's basically going to be my office hours each month. And if you've not already seen, Councilmember at Large Mendez and Councilwoman Toombs are going around the county doing a budget discussion, and they will be in our area on March 30th at the Hermitage Library at 6 p.m. to have a public listening session about the budget. And then the last announcement before I turn over to our Neighborhood Watch leader for an update is we now have a District 13 Beautification Commissioner. I submitted her name to the mayor for approval. Her name is Kimberly Shafinsky, and I apologize if you're watching, I got your name wrong. She currently is works in the communications department for the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, and she lives right over here behind the Dunkin' Donuts, so I'm happy that we've got somebody that can go ahead and take charge and help keep our neighborhood clean and beautiful and with projects. And with that, Sheila, I'll let you come up if you have some updates on our Neighborhood Watch.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheila Rigsby. I am the director of the 13th District Neighborhood Watch. We've made a little bit of progress. I've seen a lot of violent crimes go down. I can't think about the homeless situation, but Russ is getting that looked into. Thank you for that, Russ. We got an amazing logo, thanks to Russ, and I've been playing around with that. We also had a quarterly meeting. I got to meet Officer White from the Hermitage Precinct, and he brought up some very important stuff. So yeah, that's been the Neighborhood Watch in a nutshell for the past month. I'm hoping to pick things up in the spring and do some sign refreshing and just clean off the signs, make sure every neighborhood has Neighborhood Watch signs. That's going to be my biggest tackle. I want to make sure every neighborhood has a Neighborhood Watch sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate what you do.
I'd say Sheila's done a good job of taking on this Neighborhood Watch and getting it reorganized and getting information out there. So I'm really proud of you, Sheila. And one last update before I turn it over to our trustee is I have a sign-in sheet in the back. If you do not already receive my monthly newsletter, please sign up. That goes out the first Tuesday of every month, which also coincides with council meetings. So that's one way if you want to stay in touch with me or with what's going on in our district and in our city, sign up for that newsletter. And with that,
Thank you.
Trustee Parker Toller.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming out.
Councilman, thank you, Councilman Bradford. I'm Parker Toller, the Metro Trustee, and what we do is not a real exciting job, but I'm going to tell you about it and tell you about some interesting programs that we have. The Metro Trustee collects your property tax. Now, that's not very exciting, but that's what we do. And we collect about 48% of the Metro budget, about $1 billion, a little over $1 billion. But in doing so, if you need our office for anything at any time, you're welcome to call. One thing that we can do, we will be as courteous as we possibly can, help you with any question about your property tax or personal tax, business tax, or not many people in here will be too interested in utility tax. That's something that there are gas companies and truck lines and so on that pay those taxes. But mainly what I wanted to speak to you about this evening is that we have a tax relief program. There may not be many folks in here that can qualify that tonight because of age. You must be 65 years old or older, and you can qualify for the tax relief if your income is less than $29,860. We have another program that is a tax freeze if you're over 65 years old, that you can qualify for the tax-free, so if your income is less than $42,620. There are many folks in our city that can qualify for this program. Right now, we have about 8,000 people total on the program. We know that there are many others out there that we're not able to reach out because we can't get the information. So coming to meetings like this is one way. You may not be qualified, or you may not meet the standards, may not be old enough, but you may have a parent, an uncle, grandparent, or someone that may qualify for this program. So it's something that's very important. This is the most affordable housing that there is in this community. You know, every day you hear about the folks that are being priced out of their home, priced out of their neighborhoods. If they're over 65 years old, the most important thing that there is that they stay in their home that they have paid for over many years, and maybe at that point in their life that they're not working, so they do not have an income that will allow them to keep their property if they can't pay their property tax. This is something that does that. It's a program that's by the state, part of it by the state, part of it by Metro. State funds a portion, we fund more of a portion, mainly because of so many things that's happened in Nashville, our growth, and such as the councilman just told you about a couple of developments that are coming along right now. But what happens in the areas of Nashville, like the Nations, which is out in the West Nashville area, 12th South, East Nashville, Germantown, and all those places, not but a few years ago, there were homes that were maybe valued at $79,000, $60,000. Now they've gone into those areas, torn down a house next door where this person had been living there for 50 years, and built two houses that have a value of $500,000. So naturally, that's going to raise the value of their property, because you got next door to you, you have two $500,000 houses where there was a $65,000 house. Then there's a problem for you in the future. It may not happen today. So the tax freeze is very important to many people. It allows them to stay in their home that they worked and paid for many, many years. So that's what we want to do with this program. There is a deadline of February the 28th to qualify. It is based on, this is the 2019 property tax that we're talking about, so it would be based on your 2018 income. So if you know anyone in here that might can qualify, we're glad to talk to you. We're having a sign up at the at a Church of Christ on Old Hickory Boulevard this weekend. You can call our office. We'll give you that detailed information about that. But you can come into our office any day of the week between 8 and 4:30, and we're glad to talk to anyone about it. So if you have a parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt, if you could bring them over, if they're not able to get there, we're glad to talk to them. We want to do everything that we possibly can to get them qualified for this program. I'd like to at this time answer any questions that you might have about the program.
How, may I ask, how likely is that beneficial to the less than prosperous?
Okay, well,
How likely is it to survive in the next few years?
Well, let me say this to you. This is something you do not have to pay back. We'll just take an example. Say your property tax is $1,500 and you're in the urban service area, then this tax relief program would give you a little over half of that $1,500. And if you're in the general service area, it would give you $666 off your tax bills. There's some areas that I mentioned where these houses are maybe a value of $75,000, $80,000 that's in the urban service area that this tax relief program would pay their tax bill. There's also a tax program for disabled veterans that will pay most of their property tax, period. So that's also part of the program. So we want to reach out to anyone who can. I'm Parker Toller. I'm the Metro trustee. I am serving in this position after the death of my friend Charlie Cardwell. This is my 8th year to be in the office, so it's not just something that I just come to do recently. So, and I was also, I can certainly relate to Councilman Bradford. I served in the Metro Council 8 years. Back a few years ago, I served 2 terms. So the councilmen, they work hard. If they're in an area that has any kind of development or activities, they're working 7 days a week, sometimes almost 24 hours a day that they're getting calls. So I served in a very big district, so I understand that, and I certainly can relate to the issues. And I'll tell you, if you work with your councilman, he'll try to help you the best he can. So, yes, ma'am.
Is there, I guess, a time constraint on that program? Is it as long as the person owns the home for 5 years?
Yes, as long as the person owns the home and lives there, the program stays in effect. You do not have to pay anything back. There is another program, a deferred tax program, but we try to not get people on that unless that's just the only effort there is, only way to save it. That is where that you defer your property tax, do not pay it, and it goes on for several years. There's interest added onto it. It's also something that has to be paid back. So if a senior does something like that, then at the end of the time when they either sell the house or can't live in the house anymore for some reason, going to a nursing home or assisted living, then the family member has to pay that amount of money back that over the tax period of time is deferred, plus the interest. So we try to help folks get on to the tax relief or tax freeze program without using that. I don't talk about that, but if somebody asks me, then certainly we do let you know that it is available. That's something we'd rather not do. We want to help you. We don't want something to be a strain for you that goes on forever and ever. Anything else that we might talk about the trustee's office? We do not have we have 22 folks in our office. I being one of those 22 people that are there. As I said, we collect about $1 billion. The bills go out in October, and they must be paid by February the 28th, so there's not interest on the tax bill. So we do a pretty good job. We can't do much about what happens after it leaves our office. We deposit it every evening, and the next morning there's a zero balance. The treasurer has taken it and I hope used it wisely. Thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Trustee Toller, for coming out tonight. I hope everybody learned a little thing about what he does and the services offered for our communities. With that, since our other guest has not arrived yet, I will go ahead and if you have any questions, anything you want to bring up, we can entertain those for a little while. Anybody have the time? Because I want to be mindful of our time. We're really chugging along there. So, questions?
Well, you had mentioned something about a transit committee or?
Yes, so over the last month or so, the Mayor's Office of Transportation has been hosting listening sessions all across the county to get public input on what they would like to see with transit, both a countywide system and just locally. So a couple weeks ago, we had one in the Donaldson Hermitage area over at the 50 Forward Donaldson. And basically what it was, nobody really talked to us. It was them getting input from us. They had sheets of paper where you could write. One of them was, what's your biggest concerns, or what's the biggest way to improve our current bus system so that we can use it? Another one was ideas on how to improve just transportation infrastructure, period. Another activity that everybody was allowed to do was there were several boxes set up with different things like sidewalks and other forms of transportation. You're given like a $20 bill of Monopoly money. And you could either get a $20 bill or break it up into 10s, 5s, 10s. But you take your $20 and you go to these boxes, and you'd basically, if you were funding these projects, how much money would you put towards it? And so they're taking that information, seeing like which areas, what transit or transportation issue they most value. And then the other component was they had maps of the different districts in the area. And you can take a Post-it note. If you had a question, a concern, an area where you wanted something done, you wrote that note, you stuck it on the map where that issue was. So there was a lot of Post-it notes up and down Bell Road and along Elm Hill Pike. Like I said, I'm curious to see what comes out of that. The mayor's office had another one of those meetings last week over in the North Nashville area. I think there's going to be another one this week for that area of town. So when they announce what their findings are, I'll make sure to get that out to everybody.
But they're waiting for that input before there's a plan. I mean, I just have a simple, just driving around town, I'll see a bus stop sign on a telephone pole, and there's no shelter, there's nothing, and you see people standing in the rain, and then in other parts of town, there's benches and there's shelters.
So basically what they're doing is, one of the reasons a lot of people, a lot of analysts say the last transit referendum failed, not only was the cost, but a lot of people said that there wasn't a lot of public input. That was basically people in a room came up with a transportation plan and tried to sell it to us. So what Mayor Cooper and his department, transportation department, is trying to do is not do that, actually give our input, what we would like to see, if it's, and basically customize a countywide transit system that would benefit as many people as possible, not just downtown. Any other questions? Anything else?
Hi, I've emailed you a couple times. We were talking about traffic calming measures in our
Yes.
specific corner, because we've just been collecting police reports and found that every home's had a car run into it on our corner. And it's just the children, I've been videoing, school buses stop there to pick our kids up. The elderly wait at the bus stops, right where the crashes continue to occur. And I spoke with a couple other neighborhoods that have done the same application and tried to apply it, and they said it's been 1.5 years and they don't hear back. The police officer and fireman we spoke to said it's close to impossible to get any funding in our neighborhood for any of these safety measures. So I asked my friends what they did in their neighborhoods, and they said they were able to work directly with the city to get these safety measures put into place. They were able to get rumble strips and stop signs. And so my question is, like, is there, as you said, the traffic was probably, that last committee meeting was probably less focused, but what can we do besides this application? Because I don't feel like we can afford to wait to hear back.
So with the traffic calming process, with the application doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get it. They go through and they will pick, I want to say they do 8 or 10 every time they do it, and they do it twice a year. They look at stuff like incidents, whether it's injuries, fatalities, or they take some of the risks involved and make their decisions based on that. Now, you don't have to go through, if you don't want to wait for the traffic calming process, we can start that conversation with Public Works and say, okay, if this neighborhood is not on the list, can we go ahead and get rumble strips or get speed bumps, or look at other ways to help with the traffic flow. There are other areas of town where they've been a little bit more creative with what they've done. Instead of doing rumble strips or speed bumps, they've actually redesigned the road in a way so that there's actually landscaping on the curb, and you have to kind of drive around it. Basically, certain sections of the road become one lane because you have to go around the obstructions. The clearest example that I can point to right now is if you're in Inglewood near the Kroger out there. There's a neighborhood out there that it does that. So that's something, if you're wanting ways to maybe improve the aesthetics of your neighborhood, like more trees or more shrubs, that's something you can look into doing and doing paths. So I'll reach out to Public Works. That's one department I would like to get out here to do some kind of presentation for everybody. So maybe our next quarterly town hall, I can get Public Works out here, and we can have a conversation on what are some things besides traffic calming that can be done. I believe you can go on Hub Natural as well, and submit requests for traffic issues. So that's another step you can take. Just either 311 or there's an app. Yep.
I believe I've done that one. Okay.
Yeah, and the website, if you don't have my card, I've got some over there on the back of it, has the information for Hub Nashville. So whether it's traffic calming, trash litter on the side of the road, dead animals, codes violation, if you think it's a codes violation, Hub Nashville is your one-stop shop. They have the call center, they have the website, they have the app. You go on there, you file your report, you file your issue. They'll give you a tracking number or a reference number, and most is within 3 to 5 business days they've had it resolved. If you put in a request and you see that it's not getting resolved, email me the request number and I'll follow up with Public Works.
And also, you can do it anonymously if
Yep.
you want to. In other words, you don't have to put your name and address and all that. Especially if you're having problems like with your neighbor or something, you just put the information in. They don't know who put it in there or anything. They can't figure out who put it in there or anything, but they will still come out and check the area that you're working with.
And the great thing that they've done for this next council term is I can go into my Hub Nashville and I can see every request ever submitted in District 13. So both the Holly Wazo's term and the term before that, I can see any request that's been put in. So if you have a question, like, has anybody reported this? I can go in there and look, or you can even go in, you do the app or the website, they'll show you a map, and it'll show you if there's any open tickets, and you can check to make sure that someone hasn't already reported that before you file a report. So Hub is a great resource. Use it. The more you use it, the better it'll get. So that's my little PSA for Public Works.
That is, I can testify, that is good.
Cuts down the phone calls.
You can also have an officer come out with a little speedometer thing during the time, the school start times and end times, if you feel it's needed, just to kind of keep an eye on things. I know I've sent in a couple of requests to kind of keep a closer eye on little neighborhoods.
And I have submitted one of those requests previously. There was someone that had an issue with people running a red light there on Elm Hill and Timber Valley. I emailed Officer White, and within a week or two, there was a car parked out there ensuring people didn't run that light. We can also request the little trailers that they pop up that will tell you how fast you're going and to slow down. We can
They
request
can
one
also
of those.
put a camera out there if they need to,
So,
because they've got a trailer with camera.
we have options. My go-to is always the traffic calming, because if you can get on that, then everything you need can be taken care of. But you don't have to go through the traffic calming application to get some of these measures. It helps keep everything organized with Public Works. So. And there was a question that I brought up earlier about people who live on the lakeside. The trustee mentioned the difference between urban services and general services. Everything in District 13 on this side of the airport is urban services. Everything on the lakeside is general services. So a lot of people, when I was out knocking on doors, had questions about why they don't get trash pickup, why they don't get recycling, why they have to pay extra for all that, why they have to pay for the street lights. That's something that comes with being general services. General services, as I would kind of say, is like you're living in the county. So it's Nashville, we don't have the city county. It's all one thing. So that's how they kind of differentiate. If you're urban services, you live in the city. If you're general services, you're more like in the county. So once we get through this budget cycle, I'm going to start having some meetings over on our side just to give everybody information. This is in no way me pushing, say we're going to go to urban services, but I had a lot of questions about that, had some questions tonight about that, so I just want to have a meeting with that area and give y'all information about what steps could be taken if y'all wanted to take them to make sure the entire district is under the same tax bracket. If there's no more questions or more concerns, I'll hang around here for a little bit longer if y'all want to ask me some questions one-on-one. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Again, reminder, there will be that development meeting on the 20th. If you live on the Elm Hill side. Yes?
Yes, I spoke with you about that, about the trash, okay? And you said it was just $50 fine. And that's kind of why people really, oh, well, there you go, it's $2, right? So is that like throughout Nashville? You said it was by the state, right?
Yes, so
State.
most fines, the reason the most you can fine someone is $50 is that is in the state constitution.
For dumping trash?
No, just any fine whatsoever. The maximum
Okay,
fine you
so it
can
doesn't
levy
matter
is
how much trash I dump, how little I dump. I can dump a whole truckload of trash, it's only $50.
the most of you.
So if I go around my neighborhood on Bell Road, pick up all the trash and take it to the mayor's house and dump it on the road in front of his house, all I'll be charged is $50? Is that right?
It'd probably be the mayor that gets charged if it's in front of his house.
Here's what happens if you catch.
Would that be it, $50? I think that's a good idea.
Well, you never can catch anybody, but you can see trash
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's right. See, that's the problem right there. You keep, if you find out who's dumping, then that $50, that $50 be $50 every day.
Yeah, but you never can find anybody.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
right.
can see
You know,
trash
it's on- well, I know, I've experienced that. I do all the time I was in the council, people dump couches out,
Yeah.
televisions, everything.
Mattresses,
I understand the issue,
Yeah.
but that's right, catching them is a problem.
What do you mean $50 every day?
If you catch who it is and they're dumping and they don't pick it up and get it up, then that $50 fine can go on and on and on.
Oh, yeah, if you catch them.
Yeah, you catch
Not
them.
likely.
And see,
But my question was, if I had a dump truck load of trash, I took it to the mayor's house and dumped it in front of his house there in the road, and I just went ahead and paid my $50 that day, would it be over?
No,
No, why not?
you $50 a day until somebody, until you get until they pay, until they bring, that's what.
because see, they catch you doing
That's
it.
what,
But what if they didn't catch me doing it?
And that's why I say it'd probably be the mayor gets in trouble for it, but.
Is there a liability to putting trash cans out? Because everyone dumps their trash because it's right up to the metro stop. We don't have a sidewalk, but we do have the walking area where the stops are. And so I go out once a week and fill out about half a trash bag of trash that was thrown there. And I was gonna put a can out. Someone told me I was liable if something illegal ended up in that trash can. Like, I was just trying to find a solution that I could do because I'm not expecting the city to do.
That, I don't know, but I can reach out to our council legal department or Metro Legal to see if there's anything about putting a trash can out there. Hopefully now that, with us having a beautification commissioner working in tandem with our neighborhood watch, we can have community cleanups. And, the biggest thing I think, if you're concerned about the trash in your neighborhood, go to your neighbors, say, hey, let's pick one out there, let's go out here, let's pick up the, take some pride in your neighborhood, get out there and clean it up.
We're spending millions of dollars to pick up the trash.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
And
People
it's,
are spending nothing throwing it out there
That's right, well,
because there's no punishing for
Like I
it.
say, I think raising the fines might help it.
Yeah, $50, like I said, that was passed during Andrew Jackson was president.
What
Well,
would we,
$50 back then was a good chunk of change. Today, you laugh at it.
what would we need to do to have the fine potentially raised, or in the highest areas where we see the most of this trash, have some police, maybe unmarked, watch?
From my interpretation of the laws and everything, that would take the state passing an amendment to our constitution.
wow.
So you're looking.
Could they add, like,
So you're looking at 3/5 majority of the House and the Senate. and
Could they
it has to be
add
ratified by
cer-
the entire state.
like, community service time to it?
It seems like a reasonable thing to try and pass, so where do we start?
I
State legislature. So in this area, either Mike Stewart or Darren Jernigan, or your state senator is Doc
Well,
Rose.
it's not just here, I have property in Carthage, drive there, same way you drive down 70, all the way from Carthage to Cookville, back roads there, trash everywhere there too. It's all over the state. They should call it Nashville, Trashville, Tennessee. You know?
used to have an advertisement cleaning up the streets, and it's called National Trash, and guys throwing trash out of the car.
Yeah, I know that.
An advertisement. So
we-
see,
we got a
it's like
question over
it's just
here.
gotten worse and worse as we have more people.
You said you might want to get that
Oh, that's true too.
fine raised. I was living in Nolensville, and I didn't get a fence put up in time to screen my property. And they tried to fine me $300 a day for 62 days, tried to fine me $18,000 because I didn't put a fence up in time. Did it in 62 days, they told me to put up. And I had to take it to Tennessee State Supreme Court to get them to change it to where all I had to pay was a $50 fine, because that's all the judge would fine me. But if you don't stay on it, they will try to fine you anything. And I was like, I had to spend $3,000 to get it dropped down to $50, but but still, they tried to fine me $18,000. So you might want to watch what you're asking for in case you get in trouble. And I said, well, we can find you anything we want. It just kind of keeps a control on the judges.
You have questions?
I was gonna say, it does count as a community service thing. I've talked to several people from the Tennessee Promise, and it does doing little community beautification things that does count as their community service credits. You can sign up through Hub Nashville or just email them, sign off on a paper saying, hey, they were here, they did this. There you go.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Doug Goff, I'm a trustee here in Memphis, and I apologize to you, it was my bad on this mix-up we had to meet. I had you load a 145-year-old chapel, and somehow the Boy Scouts ended up over there, and pushed you over here, so it's my bad, I'm sorry. We're always happy to have you, love having you anytime. You know, you can meet here with more than
We're very appreciative of it, and I love the fact that this is probably the most central location for the whole district. So it's great having this location here. I appreciate y'all been very welcoming every time we've met out here for anything. So
We love being young, and, you know, every meeting's here, that's like, you know, a 145-year-old chapel over there, in the Civil War, all the way up to today, it's always been ministry, it's historic, so this one speaks to the 6 years old, this is historic. So, we love it, so, you're always welcome, so thank you very truly.
we appreciate that.
I apologize about my bad.
That's fine, that's fine. We all got it worked out. So with that, if there's no other questions, like I said, I'll hang back for a little bit and talk one-on-one if y'all are more comfortable that way. Thank you again for coming out tonight. I look forward to continuing to have these meetings and continuing to provide you information, whether it's through email, social media, or these meetings. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to serve y'all on the council, and I'm having a fun time doing it. Thank you so much.
Or the name of the